Wednesday Night Lights, ACC style, from Klockner Stadium, the University of Virginia in historic Charlottesville. #1 North Carolina taking on 15th ranked Virginia. 2 games remain in the regular season, including tonight. UNC still has that upper hand right now as the top seed. UVA looking to solidify that #5 spot with the ACC tournament just a few weeks away. And good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Secondo alongside Dana Boyle and Shannon Stanford-Birch. Ladies, it's a great game tonight. A lot of momentum for UNC as they come into this action. And UVA is still trying to get that chain up to speed.
I would agree. If you're Virginia, you've got to win these last 2 games. You've got to have that momentum and that trajectory going into ACC play. And you got to make the NCAA tournament, which they're in jeopardy of doing so.
They got to be above 500 to make it into the NCAA tournament. They're at 7-7 now, so important game, but they're going against a very tough UNC team. So looking to really improve. Got a lot of injuries, but they have some young stars that can hopefully lead the way.
UNC, a 39-game win streak, 17 of those on the road, led by the 4-time All-American and Jamie Ortega.
Jamie Ortega is phenomenal, so consistent for this North Carolina team, shooting above 50% on the season. You called the game at Syracuse. What did you like about her?
I thought it was the best game that I've seen her play in a long time. She's the career record leader in points for UNC, but in the Syracuse game, she was dominant. Instead of just letting the game come to her, she wanted to take the game over. 5 goals, 1 assist, but proving why she's one of the best attackers in the nation.
UVA's record's a little bit deceiving. They've been decimated by injuries, but this is a deep squad, and they've figured out, especially the youth on the squad, to be 7-7.
I would agree. The injury bug has plagued Virginia, but coach talk, Julie Myers telling us this week, you've got to be ready for any opportunity, and you've got to be ready to step up, and it's real now with 2 games left. Some of their veteran players, they've got to do even more, and everybody's got to share the load to be offensively sound, defensively midfield. They've got to play a complete game tonight.
Virginia in the home whites. That's Aubrey Williams set to go against Ali Mastriani, and we're underway from Klockner. The stick switch by Mastriani as North Carolina settles in.
Leah, you mentioned the Open, just how many stars there are for UNC. So deep on this offensive end of the field that UVA is going to really need to make sure that they don't get overly aggressive defensively and really stick to their matchups.
And that's what they were practicing yesterday. They're practicing staying on their mark, knowing where everybody is on the field, Sheehan, like you said, because everybody's a threat. Anybody can shoot from any area, any quadrant of the field at any point.
Plenty of time on the shot clock. This is a UNC squad that, as Sheehan mentioned, had a tough battle against Wurzburg. We're looking for someone out in front right now. Tough battle against Syracuse, winning 14-12. And on the first possession, it's Andy Aldave with the goal. Oh, no goal. Called off. Called off. So a big break for UVA in the crease. And the Cavaliers on the break here, looking to move quickly.
Unlucky for Andy Aldave. I wasn't surprised that she scored first. She's been such an immediate impact coming from a transfer from Notre Dame. She's done such a great job, but unlucky for UNC, but you gotta like that if you're UVA.
Absolutely.
I feel like all of Aldave's goals have also been within like 12 inches of the crease. She has the ball bounces in front, somehow gets into her stick. But you gotta make sure your stick can go in the crease area, but you gotta keep your feet outside.
During the Boston College game, it was like controversial, right? People thought that she tiptoed in the crease. The goal stood in that game.
So as UVA gets set to go here on the offensive attack, Carolina's defense is really stretching them out right now beyond the 12. Rachel Clark with no action there as she brings it back out.
I like the movement for UVA right now, setting up a little isolation play.
And that's what they practiced yesterday, 1v1s. You have to take a 1v1 against North Carolina, and you have to move and find the lane. They're not going to give you a lot, but when you get it, you got to take it.
And how about that? Rachel Clark move it through. Puts the Cavaliers on their first possession on the board.
We talked about the youth, and Rachel Clark is one of those star players, second among D1 freshmen in goals per game. She has been a bright spot Love how she just does a quick switch to the hands and powers through the double team, gets her hands and sticks free, and just stings that one.
And oftentimes she's yielding the best defender. Duke held her scoreless, pointless during that game. So that's a great score to start off the scoring front for Virginia.
46th, all smiles for Clark on the season. That'll build your confidence. Julie Myers shaking her head. 27th year for Julie Myers on the sidelines for UVA. Former standout for the Cavaliers as well. That's Jason Brightful talking to Mastriani and Williams in the circle. And Allie scoops it up. Second opportunity for Carolina. The first one was called off with Aldave just taking one too many steps inside the crease area. Good defense, double team there. Ortega left alone.
UVA's defense is doing a nice job of just showing their sticks in the passing lane, kind of preventing the UNC attackers to get a good look in cage.
Ortega trying to get some steam, draws the defense. Shooting space violation. Good job by Brooke Newman.
This is a good hash if you're a righty. She's got speed too.
Looks straight on to the junior Ashley Vernon. Slides it through, short side, and we're tied up on the free position at 1.
I was really impressed with Brooklyn Newman in the Syracuse game. We don't often give her enough credit, but she's that worker bee on the offensive end. And she got on the 8-meter and she did her job. She nailed the 8-meter. She's got that quick burst of speed and does a good job just going right directly down to cage, right past Ashley Vernon.
8 meters are so important in the game, and as the games get more physical, especially with better competition, you have to make sure you convert on those, which I think is a key aspect that you see when games come down the wire. It's the teams that often struggle at either winning possession or on the 8-meter to be a big difference maker.
We always talk about the draws being so important. UNC 2-0 advantage right now in the 2 draw opportunities, and less than a minute differential in the goals being scored in this game. So 1-1.
And Aubrey Williams at the draw circle, she is that traditional Fogo. So she gets the draw, kicks it to the offense, and then she's coming right off the field, hustling to get that midi to run on. Interesting strategy. Not every team does that.
And UNC does it, but that's going to add to their advantage because Mastriani can stay on the field. So to your point, when you have to wait for the substitution, that can sometimes slow things down for you.
I just don't feel like when I played, we had those specialty positions, but Aubrey Williams is that specialty position. But Ali Mastriani, she stays on the field. She's such a good two-way midi, but using your players, finding the advantage that they have, the skill set.
And that was something that we've spoken to so many coaches during our path through the season about, finding your niche and trying to help your team either way. Rachel Clark has found her niche in a Cavalier uniform. Second goal of the game for Clark. Right down the middle.
That was a beautiful offensive sequence for UVA. Starts with winning the draw control possession. Clark gets her 47th goal of the season. And a beautiful job here, drawing double team. Kate Miller gets that feed inside to Clark, and she is wide open in the center. So just miscommunication defensively for UNC. She's not one you want to leave open.
Right, I'm surprised that she doesn't have a mark on her at all times. And like you said, she's so versatile. She can kick it from the elbow, she can feed, she can dodge, she can drive. She's not playing like a freshman, and I've been saying that all season. I had a chance to call one of their games versus Richmond. She is fearless. I remember when I played UNC as a freshman, I was terrified. I was quite honestly terrified.
Speaking with her yesterday at practice, she was telling us how she wasn't really sure what her role was when she came in. But time And spending time with Dyson and Kaskin and Mcgovern, those players, and Mcgovern, those players have helped her kind of get comfortable at this level.
It's difficult. You know, there's a transition, a real transition that happens, not just like physically lifting in your body, but mindset and IQ. It's very different coming from high school into college, but she's made that seamless transition. She's popped off the scene day one, game one of her freshman year, and is really making a mark for herself so early in her career.
Mastriani works her way in and responds, getting it over the top of Vernon to tie it back up at 2.
You know, I would argue that Ali Mastriani is probably one of the most solid two-way middies in all of Division I. Not only can she handle any matchup on the defensive side, but the speed and her ability to drive and find the space. I mean, she keeps it in her right hand. There are multiple Virginia defenders. They've got to put a body on her. Sticks aren't going to work, and they're not going to scare her. She's just going to blow right through that passing lane.
She is so fun to watch. Last year's ACC Midfielder of the Year. Switching sticks now to get her draw stick.
And think about how quickly she did that, right? That was in a matter of seconds. Got the stick, boom, went down the field, and as you guys said, just walked right into that open space.
And the technology is so advanced. We did not have draw sticks when I played, and it's amazing to see. It's really changed the game. Different mesh, different netting.
Do you even know what a wooden stick is, right?
Come on, come on, come on, shade up here.
Those are in the museums, right?
Exactly.
Yes, she is.
But how the game, has grown, you know, and the technology has changed.
And the athletes.
And the athletes, just so much stronger now with the nutrition and the weightlifting and
mental health, sports psych.
Absolutely. Ortega. And, you know, when we were doing our research today, I think it's phenomenal. Jamie Ortega has the opportunity to be a 5-time All-American. A 5-time All-American.
It's not many people can say that.
No.
It's incredible.
In any sport.
And on a team where you have multiple All-Americans. She's not the only one on North Carolina.
The little flip back. Newman. Geiserbach, who has been playing exceptional. Number 36 for Carolina.
Putting on inside roll clinics game after game. If you're a little kid, watch 36.
We've spoken of Ortega's play, especially the last 2 games. Same can be said for Geiserbach. Nice job by Vernon. The rebound comes right out. And broken up by Aldave. Andy Aldave as well has played a couple of different roles for Jenny Levy.
Was a midfielder at Notre Dame, broke all sorts of records for the Fighting Irish, and at UNC they made her more of an attacker, so she wasn't having to run the midfield as much, but she's done a little bit of everything. And last week when they struggled on the draw control, they went to Aldave, and she was one of those sparks that helped turn the game around for UNC, get them in a rhythm, get them with possessions.
And she understands, too, the ball security. Being a midfielder and running that much, when you're on an attack now, you take care of that ball because you know as a midfielder that you had to haul it back if you turn the ball over. It's an interesting perspective. I think being an attacker, you can breathe.
Nice job, kept low on a little give and go there, and Ortega gets on the board. Jamie Ortega with the goal. First lead of the game for UNC.
That was a really long defensive possession for UVA. Because of the turnover, they had to really fight through all the tiredness here, and I love how UNC just kept working the ball, all the movement. Ortega, not much angle there. She's all alone on that left-hand side and does a great job sealing her defender off, keeps it in her left hand. Beautiful little bounce shot, and slips that one right by Vernon.
Nina Garfinkel was the defender. I think she was a little late to that slide, or somehow Jamie Ortega got lost in the offensive set. She does that. She's not very big, she's tiny, and she's really sneaky. She uses her other players to come off of and almost like a screen in basketball.
And, you know, she sees the field 180.
Totally.
Sees the field 180. 2 minutes it took UNC to nail those 2 goals and to take their first lead of the game. They stick with Williams in the circle against Mastriani, and loose ball picked up. That's Mackenzie Hogue. Hogue has been getting into the offensive action for UVA as well. Of course, that name sounds familiar because her sister Katie was a nice little tandem with Jamie Ortega back in the day.
One of the greats.
They were so fun to watch together. Hogue just had that quarterback position behind the goal, set up and feed everyone.
And most of the offensive production was from Hogue and Ortega, so it's been interesting this year to see other players on the offensive end really get in that mix of the scoring and the points. It's much more dynamic, in my opinion, UNC on the offensive end.
Morgan Schwab being patient as she tosses it back up top. Looking for the cutter, and Hogue was there. Good shot. Marino knocks it away, her first save of the game.
Great stop from Marino inside. Love the cut, though, and the movement for UVA. Great look. What a clear.
Graduate student out of Huntington, New York, out on Long Island. Of course, a Tewaaraton finalist as well. Nice job by Vernon. Picks up her second save. It was interesting talking to Ashley Vernon yesterday, goalkeeper for UVA. Very quiet. She's a quiet quarterback. Backside check there. No call. But a quiet leader in the back for the Cavaliers.
She is, and she's that mid-year transfer. I don't think people realize how difficult that is. So she came in January, and I loved what Julie Myers said about her. She's that bright spot. Right. She's not very big in the cage. No. She's pretty unassuming, but she does a lot for them. And I think, you know, she sees the bulk of shots. She sees so many shots, and I hope that in this game, if you're Virginia, you've got to want her to play big, but you got to want the people in front of you defensively to play strong.
And you think about it, Ashley Vernon has gotten thrown in to a difficult situation, getting accustomed to school, her teammates, but she said to us that, and Aldave, one-timer, slicing down the middle. 2-goal lead.
She has fit in so well on this UNC team, especially on the offense. Love Wurzberger with the assist. Just great eyes for the cage. UNC, they're up by 2.
Goal lead for Jenny Levy's team here on the road. They look to keep that 17-game win streak on a roll. Here is the Division I Women's Lacrosse Committee's official top 10 for games ending in and around April 10th. The NCAA committee reveal. Ladies.
How cool is it they do this? I've loved seeing this because it gives you an inside peek. Instead of being completely blind on Selection Sunday, you know, really the polls, it doesn't really matter what the polls are because it's a little bit different. But it's interesting to see where they stand as the April 10th. This factors in the strength of schedule, RPI. Any surprises for you, Dana?
I'm surprised about Duke. I am. I mean, they have one loss. I understand that they don't play the toughest schedule, but I like seeing this. 1, because it starts conversation amongst Lax Twitter. 2, it probably fires some people up who think they maybe should be in this and maybe motivates them. But it is interesting. Like Sheehan said, I mean, the polls matter, but they also don't matter. It matters if you're winning in your second season in May.
The polls matter because it factors into that crazy RPI calculation.
Right.
So essentially they do, but it's interesting because your wins and losses is all really about the strength of schedule, how your opponents do, the conference. A lot more goes into it than what meets the eye.
Well, and it's so hard, especially when you're an upper echelon team, getting some solid non-conference games, especially for the, I think for the ACC schools, because then you have to look at how is it going to affect, you know, your RPI.
Another one of those factors to make it into the NCAA tournament as an at-large is you have to be above 500 in your record. So quite a few teams out there on the men's and women's sides trying to make sure that they get enough wins to be eligible.
And there's a few in the ACC. Virginia's at jeopardy, Notre Dame, Louisville, Pitt, and Virginia Tech, they're above 500, but they've got a tough schedule coming up. And it really depends on the ACC tournament.
Scotty Rose Browning out of the crowd, picks up the ground ball, rocks it back in. So Scotty Rose with her first opportunity on a shot, connects for the goal. And another piece, I think, for Carolina that sometimes gets lost with this elite group.
Totally. She's a steady contributor, but she makes all of the hustle plays. Like, she is gritty. She picked that ball up in traffic, controlled it enough to find a shot and find the back of the cage. She makes it look easy, but it is not. If we could pick favorite players, I don't even know if we're allowed, but she'd be one of mine.
3 times now, Carolina has gone down the field off of a draw and has scored. As Jenny Levy looks on, started the program at UNC 27 years ago. You know, that was the other thing, COVID year. Our 2 coaches tonight would have had their 25th anniversary in coaching. It never happened. Both schools had preparations to celebrate that for the coaches, and never happened. Both of them in their 27th year as they have done so much for the sport of lacrosse.
They were teammates together at University of Virginia, national champions, and then have done amazing things for their schools.
Great job picking up the ground ball was Aubrey Williams. 5-3 now, the differential on the draw controls. And a turnover. Not a turnover because Rachel Clark scoops it up.
I was just about to say that's a crucial transition. Then they turned it over, she got it back, but they need to stop the UNC offense. They've got to stop, and they have to do that by scoring. Give their defense a little bit of break. You can't let UNC go on these runs, Sheehan.
No, and UNC has been dominating the possession. 8 shots for UNC. Virginia just has 3.
Keep an eye on number 5 in white. Rachel Clark, she has both goals. A dynamic player, can really play anywhere. The elbow, the top, behind. Here's Clark now. Kiki Shaw.
Great double team for UNC.
Shaw's been dinged up. Good to see her back out on the field. Biska trying to find her way in. Nothing is there. Shot clock at 10. Hear the crowd trying to rally the team. Mcgovern. Shot clock violation.
See the UNC sideline. It is a great defensive effort and wing when you get that shot clock to expire.
And good job by the UNC defense pushing Virginia out. She didn't have any angle to take a shot. That was a very forced shot, but that's what they do so well defensively.
You know, that for any opponent that takes on UNC, they're going to put you in difficult shooting spots on the field. So not only do you have to get a good shot off of your opportunity, but from a probably not too good high percentage angle.
Right.
And UVA is just going to need to fight harder to get to the center of the field.
Aldave.
Even if they get fouled, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's possible because they did it for the first 2 goals, UVA, so they just have to keep working the ball. You can't let UNC lull you.
Aldave gets set up on the 8-meter.
UNC is 1 for 1 tonight. Let's see what Andy Aldave does from this particular angle.
Looks like she wants to wind up and shoot.
She's twirling it pretty good. Goes high.
But not want to be a goalie.
High and
no
wide.
thanks.
That was pretty frightening. Wurzburger. Caitlin looking for some help up top. Olivia Dirks loses control. Can she scoop it back up? And she will.
Gonna call a hold against Virginia. I think she was just outside the 8-meter, so it could be about a step off. They'll get positioned to where the foul occurred. Actually, they're gonna give her the hash mark.
How about that? Pretty good angle for Dirks. 1 of 7 players in double-figure scoring for UNC.
This is a great look at what she's seeing.
Dirks! Over the shoulder, going high. She is 1 for 1 on shots and goals.
To give UNC chances, they are going to deliver on them. Making the most of the opportunity, Dirks I don't know how she evades all that stick. That is just an excellent job. She gets her stick in front of her. Look where she cradles through the sticks and then gets her stick to the side. So the UVA defenders are coming in trying to get her at an angle, but Dirks evades that pressure, gets to the outside, and finishes, and UNC is on a 5-goal run.
15th of the season for Olivia Dirks. Everyone understands their responsibilities. And we talked about that yesterday with Jenny Levy, and we continued the conversation, ladies, afterwards about you have all these blue chip players, and if they don't buy in, then it's not going to be a good setting, right? But these guys have all bought in so far. 5 goals within 8 minutes and 14 seconds.
And it's that conversation, talent is relative.
Right.
You know, if you have all of this talent, but you don't know how to use it and you don't have relationships and culture, then that's wasted. And you don't win games. Like, you don't win national championships because you have a bunch of All-Americans. You win national championships because you have players that believe and they're all pulling in the same direction. And that's important to know.
Pulling in the same direction, and you make a great point, Dana. Coach Levy was talking to us this morning about that and how she referred to Dawn Staley. And the first thing Dawn Staley did is Mastriani trying to whip herself back inside the 8. You know, recognizing the blue team, or, you know, the second team, the scout team. And those are different things that are going on behind the scenes for every team. Cutter inside, Hillman scores. Or check that Geiserbach scores. Cutting through, number 36.
36 for Carolina Geiserbach. Such a value add for this Carolina offense. She's a lefty, so she gives the UNC offense another look. Because she is left-handed, she's wide open in the middle. I mean, that looks easy, right? I mean, defensively, if you're Virginia, you've got to know where every player on the Carolina team, but you got to know, especially when they're in the 8-meter. That was a great finish.
And it all was set up with the great ball movement.
Right.
Wurzburger down below, she sees a double team, she passes it up top, and then they get it inside to Geiserbach. So just, that's another thing with this talent. There's one ball in the field. So a lot of people talk to opposing coaches, they've often said, yes, they got so many All-Americans, but you got to share that ball, and can you find the right chemistry? And they have. And one thing I read this week on the men's side with Coach John Tillman at Maryland, who's #1, he said that everyone's unselfish there, that they know they're going to get the ball back in your stick, and I think that applies to UNC. No one's afraid that they're not going to get their points. They realize they're going to make the right pass, make the right decisions.
And Jamie Ortega is a perfect example of that. I overheard something that she was saying, this is after the Boston College game. She said, I like when I get double and triple team because that means someone on my team is going to be able to score. And I thought that was such a profound, simple statement, but you don't say that unless you truly believe in the team. You can't all be All-Americans, so you've got to have the team first.
Under a minute to go here in the first. And this is a huge possession for UVA in the closing seconds.
UNC defensively is pressuring out a little bit. You can see how they've extended their pressure, not just sitting back on the 8-meter.
Ashlyn Mcgovern really denied a higher opportunity, trying to work it over quickly now. Here's Hogue, working her way in. Nice spin move and good reaction by Mcgovern. Ashlyn Mcgovern with the goal.
Virginia's had some success getting open in the 8-meter. Mcgovern has scored in every game this season. She's been the leader her 5th year, but only her 3rd year playing. And it comes from Mackenzie Hogue, gets a feed inside, and Ashlyn Mcgovern just turns and fires it non-stick side to the top corner.
And she's had to take on more of an offensive load with some of the injuries to Cortland Kaskin, Annie Dyson, Lily Cloak. So she's taking on more of a role as well as the rest of her offense. So that was a great offensive set. They needed that goal badly.
Mcgovern, the true leader. UVA 3 for 5 in shooting.
Which isn't terrible. They're just not getting the ball on their offensive end. The defense for UNC is stifling.
And this is a UVA squad we talked about at the top, how they have just been decimated with injuries. Mcgovern, one of those players, as a 5th year, who she will be back. They're actually only losing 1 player from this particular squad, Megan Gordon, going into next season. So you take your lumps now in a way, but you think about all the players that are getting playing time.
They've got plenty of time. They got to attack the cage.
Here's the attack, the push from behind. No call, and the save by UNC. That'll do it for the first quarter of play. Taylor Marino and her teammates will huddle it up here after one. Carolina leading by 4. Welcome back to Charlottesville as we get set for quarter number 2 between Carolina and Virginia. Tar Heels with a 7-3 lead. Jenny Levy and Julie Myers were teammates here in Charlottesville. They put up a banner. They know what it's all about.
This is amazing. These are throwback photos. So Julie's on the left, Jenny in the middle. They look exactly the same.
They do.
Right?
They don't age at all.
So many great stars in that photo. Such great talent. I mean, look at the resume here for Julie Myers. 8 NCAA championship appearances. 2004 NCAA champion.
And not too many people can say they've won a championship as a player and a coach.
Right. It's a very small list.
Klockner Stadium opened in '92. Levy and Myers, a big part of getting the program as players going in this direction. 6-5 now, the differential in the draw controls.
I love that camera angle. You can see Emily Knowles on the draw circle.
It's great to see the people on the outside and how they have to work. The draws have been huge in terms of conversion of scores. UNC with 4 scores after they won the draw right in a row, and 2 of UVA goals have come right after they won the draw control. So possession right into quick scoring.
Well, the way that Hillman was racing in there, I thought she wasn't going to give it any type of daylight. Mastriani trying to work off of a screen. And a shot. Nice job spinning around the backside, using her teammates from the top. Looked like a little horns action in basketball there.
That was a very quick release. That's the 5th time that they've got a draw control and they've scored off of it. Ali Mastriani keeps it in her right hand. I love the ball movement that happened. She basically takes it from coast to coast, then goes down to cage. I mean, she's a great player.
So fun to watch. I love the placement of her stick as she came off that little pick, wide open, drops her stick low, sidearms it to the top corner. Changing your release point can be very tough for the goalie to read, so not your just typical overhand shot.
And oh yeah, by the way, not only getting it done on the field, but pursuing a master's in media and communications as well at UNC. You see the differential on the draw controls right now, 7-5. That's a great tight shot of what those players are trying to do and accomplish, and the strength that they both have right now in the draw circle.
Seven different scores for UNC. We talk about their depth, and it is no lie. They legit have everyone on the field can put the ball in the back of the net. Emily Knowles, one of their star defenders, scored against Syracuse.
It was amazing.
It was an awesome goal, but they're just the amount of players that are threats. Just pick your poison when you're playing defense against them.
Growney looking for a cutter. So Geiserbach calling it out right now. Flying off.
Excellent defense. Yep. She has a real knack for getting to the inside. Tried the spin moves, but couldn't cut to the inside. Nina Garfinkel did a great job keeping her out.
She made that adjustment on the other end of the field in the first quarter, not so much. She got inside.
The grabbing of the head right there. So we're gonna see a yellow card being issued.
And goggles off, automatic.
And that's just a safety call. You see number 36 for UVA right into the sideline. Watch the replay, you watch the check, and you can just see that stick check. It doesn't matter how hard the check is, any contact with the head is an immediate yellow card.
Scheidemeyer will step off.
We've seen a lot more yellow cards this year.
Yes.
There's a lot larger of an emphasis placed on safety, which I think is a good thing. I don't want women's lacrosse to go to helmets. I shouldn't even have put that into the universe. My bad.
It's out there in the universe right now. Newman trying to flip it. She does.
Officials letting a lot of the pushing going.
Because that's another emphasis, is the extension of the arms. But you've got to let them play with a mix of physicality. But there is a point where it becomes dangerous.
Taylor Wareheim was in possession of the ball.
I think they stopped it because of a lost shoe. Everyone's got their equipment back on. North Carolina is so effective in these player-up situations.
Keep an eye on 22 in blue, cutting down the middle right now. So accordion back out. Ortega, little deception there as Wareheim came back out slow. Ortega sliced in. So that will release the card.
I mean, UNC is dangerous when they're playing even strength, but especially when they're warming up, like Sheehan mentioned. You also always have to know where Jamie Ortega is. She's slippery, she's sneaky, she's got such poise. She doesn't shoot hard, and I think that's important to note. You don't always have to shoot hard for the ball to go in the back of the net. She's got extreme placement. Just another tally to her goal mark and point mark.
Racking up the numbers, chasing those NCAA record marks. What I love about her, she can catch anything. You throw that in her. That was not a great pass. Anyone else was going to miss that. That was her stick was in front of her. The pass came behind her. She's somehow able to manage to get that, control it, and then release the shot. Catches under pressure, gets shoved down.
She falls on the ground a lot. She gets beat up a lot.
She gets beat up a lot, which, as they win it again, and nice job by Knowles to keep it and scoop it up and control it in 9-5 now. +4 for UNC on the draws. And here's Ortega. As a freshman, number 3 in blue was held scoreless by this UVA squad. Only time in 83 career games that she was ever held scoreless, and really came in as a #1 freshman attacker in the country at that point, learning things. Errant pass to Ortega, and a push by Dirks. It will go to UVA.
Maybe forced a little bit on that pass.
Yeah.
Just a bit, but she had an opportunity to learn from Katie Hogue. So she had to take a back seat. She still got minutes, she still played, but she got to learn from some of the greats, so it's been really awesome to watch her blossom into that ex-player behind the cage.
Nice job by Garfinkel to bring it over the line.
It's an important UVA possession right now. Make sure that everyone gets a touch, make the defense work, and not be too risky. They need to convert and score. They're going to call a charge on that.
I think you got to work for a better angle.
Yeah, that was not the shot you want. Moreno was just hugging the pipe. Not much of an angle. You got to either move your stick around the body to get that off or feed off of that. Change your point of attack, get it back up top to attack. UNC scored on 4 of their last shots, and that's the 5th turnover for UVA. So giving UNC extra possessions, they've got to try to limit them. They're in need of a stop.
I think you beat UNC defensively when you do move the ball. So it's hard to take a 1v1 unless you have that long lane and you don't see defenders. So they've got to remember how they scored those 3 goals for UVA.
Wareheim with the ball now. Little stutter step, looking for a cutter. Aldave was there for a flash. Here's Wurzburger. She has 2 assists already on the night. Aldave, had she kept going there, she might have got a shooting space call, but decided to give it up. Ortega up over the top. Vern is there for the save.
Much needed save.
Confidence-wise.
Confidence, yes. And you got to give your defense a break. I mean, they're getting crushed offensively. UNC has so many possessions.
3rd save of the game for Vernon.
We've talked about the injuries UVA's had. Annie Dyson and Cortland Kaskin, 2 notable ones. 2 captains been sidelined, and that's hard to have that leadership that's not on the field with you, especially with great players out there, and they really, Dyson was all over the field, kind of utility player that did everything from scoring to the midfield. And Kaskin was sidelined last year with an injury, and they were so glad to have her back. Just unfortunate not to have their presence on the field.
And then Lily Cloak goes out in the fall, so they haven't had her. They knew they weren't going to have her, but to your point, I mean, that's really tough when you lose those veteran players. You know, how do you mix in some younger talent? How do you make them cohesive?
Well, you bring in a young player like Rachel Clark, right? With a hat trick. Woo!
She must have heard us up here in the booth.
That's the 11th hat trick of the season for Clark. Not bad for a freshman. And 12th time.
Not bad for a
Multi-goal
freshman
game.
against the #1 team in the country.
Absolutely.
But that's those off angle. That's not a great angle, but she makes it work, and she keeps it in her left hand. But you just have to go hard. Like, she committed to going to cage, and that's what you have to do if you're going to beat UNC.
You see the smile there. Look at the goals of a freshman. Amy Appel, what an amazing goal scorer her career at UVA. 53, Blair Weymouth in 06, and Clark chasing those numbers. Julie Myers telling us that Clark is probably as good as an attacker she's ever coached, which is some high praise from a legend that has seen so many great players.
And she's in great company with that list with Blair Weymouth and Amy Appel. I mean, they weren't so bad at UVA, just average.
That ball will go right back to Virginia. Mastriani on the backside push.
Look at the UNC jerseys just swarming on the ride. Great teams take so much, just really put a big emphasis on putting pressure when other teams have the ball, trying to come up with turnovers.
And I think the best attackers go hard in the ride.
It's such an important skill.
Good opportunity for the Cavaliers to string 2 goals together here. They have not done that yet this evening.
Dana, you mentioned the ride. I feel like a lot of times attackers used to think it was time to take a break. You have the goalie sit there, it's like,
I might have done that a few times. I don't know, I might have done that. But it isn't. Like, if you ride hard, you have an opportunity to get the ball back.
That was a great, UVA's done a nice job of the ball up top, feeding in the inside and getting good looks. Now they get the second chance here.
Trying to work quickly is Morgan Schwab. Still with the ball, looking for a cutter.
They've not drawn any free position shots. They need to figure out ways that they can draw the foul by dodging hard, getting themselves on the 8-meter. Excellent ground ball. Emma Trencher is able to pick that up.
Gets it back into Marino's hands. She carries it up. A little pressure there by Dial.
She's so comfortable out of the cage, Taylor Marino.
She wants to be out. She wants
to be a player, field player.
Uh-oh, she's got to hustle back now.
That's what makes me nervous.
Okay, there she
right
is. Oh my, wow. That was close.
That was very close. Very close. Do you carry it in further, or you take your chance on that? Because it went right back. There was nobody down there.
I wasn't even in the cage, and like my heart's beating up here.
If it went in, that's a huge momentum swing. But at this point of the game, you really needed that goal. So maybe you do hold on to possession or take a few more steps in there. But that's the dangers when your goalie comes out of the cage, that you run the risk of leaving the net wide open.
You can see, it's one of the benefits of being on site. You can see Julie and Colleen. I don't know if they're super happy with that decision.
No, and that's kind of when you would want Tiny Mike time on Taylor Marino to see what she might be saying at this point. Up over the top, and a nice job. Nicole Humphrey is stopped. Vernon with 2 consecutive saves there.
So for those of you that don't know, Tiny Mike Time is a series that UNC does on their Instagram, and it's hilarious. Jenny Levy leads it off, and they have different categories and different players get interviewed. It's a good way to get to know the team. This week it was, what Mario Kart player are you?
And the mic is literally tiny. It's like
tiny,
an inch, like the little like lapel microphone, and that's like I think it's so hilarious to see everyone holding the tiny mic.
It's very funny. Like, I sit in my living room and I watch it, and I actually giggle out loud.
So, which Mario are you guys?
Sheehan?
I mean, are you surprised that I'm going to be Princess Peach?
No, I'm not.
No.
I just wanted you to say it on air. I'm probably Yoshi or Toad. Yoshi with the traction tires in the motorcycle.
Okay.
That's where it's at.
Leah?
Here's Clark revving it up with her tires. And how about that? No answer right now for UNC when it comes to Rachel Clark. 49th of the season for Clark, and it's 9-5.
When UVA's needed a score, they turn to the freshman, number 5. Clark gets it, they pull within 4. UVA trails by 4 to UNC.
UNC, they got no answer for the freshman, number 5, Rachel Clark, playing phenomenal. I'm surprised they didn't put a mark on her, a face guard. She just has such a good job going down to cage, so quick on her first step. I love what I see from her, not a freshman, putting the ball past one of the best in the country, Taylor Moreno. They've got to find somebody to stop Rachel Clark, number 5.
She has been on a tear, 4 goals on 5 shots, so efficient. And you look at there, UNC 7 different goal scorers. It's 6 of the 9 goals off draw control wins for UNC. So you see just how a lot of times those draw control wins determine the score.
Clark 6th in the ACC and 19th in the nation coming into this game with goals. Clark with 4 of the goals, the rest of the team with 1. Still Mastriani and Williams in the draw circle for these two teams that have some depth in that position.
See the officials just trying to get the stick stationary. Great
hustle.
A great look at those circle players. Maggie Bostein, great draw control win, brings it downfield.
And she's really had to help Virginia in the midfield, Bostein, number 28 in white. With some of the injuries, she's a great defender and also has proven to be a really good midfielder, and she's helped at that position.
UNC putting the pressure on. They have played great man-to-man defense. They're extending the pressure outside.
Klockner can get loud. You can feel it getting a little louder right now. Kiki Shaw trying to work around Null and could not, but it will stay. Cavalier ball.
And great second possession by Braden Dial. That's what's so important. More so than the shot missing, if you have a backup, who's your teammate that's gonna back up and get you that second possession? That is critical.
Miller trying to work inside. Walker Welch, 45, has been very tough defensively.
And look at the matchup. Emma Trenchard on Rachel Clark in the bottom right of your screen. We talked about how she often yields the best defender. Well, that's one of them right there.
That's one of them right there. Wow, what checking going on. Really trying to push off the 8s and work wound in.
They are letting play. They are going to call for a dangerous check into the body.
Kiki Shaw, the 3-time high school All-American.
Take a look at the sticks and the swinging across the body. So good call. That puts Shaw behind the cage on the dot back there. We'll set her up. Just 3 seconds left to go on the shot clock. And smart move just to throw it in the corners. Not much to do there. And the reason you want to do that, if you're new to the shot clock area, is you want to make sure you put the ball furthest away so that you can get set up on your defensive end. So if you try to fire that into the center of the field, right, that can transition downfield and not be a good thing. So throw the ball in the corner when you're close to the end of that shot clock.
Give your chance for your middies to fall back there and get numbers.
And then the other team has to make sure that they run and get the ball. Now, if you do it too late, you can be called for delay of game. So you got to be very careful. Don't chuck it too far after the horn.
Keep it in the arena.
Yeah.
Newman comes back out. Brooke with a goal tonight. Off of a free position. Here goes Newman inside, a lot of space. Nice job by Vernon, the little flip. And the 5th save by Vernon.
Number 10, Maureen Duffy, she got lucky there because that could have been real ugly.
Watch this take. Newman goes in. Oh, right off the knee area. That's going to sting, but feels much better when it doesn't go in.
Do you care if you save it?
No,
I don't think you do. You put some ice on it after the game and say, I'm good to go.
All good, let's go.
Look at the save numbers there. UVA 5 to UNC's 2.
This is a Cavalier defense that really is starting 3 new defenders, again, because of injuries and movement all around Vernon.
And the UNC defense also looks very different. You know, they lost to 3 W's.
Wow, right on spot, but we will have a foul called. And the clock will stop here as the players are tangled up. Jamie Biscup, a little bit slow getting up. Trying to decide who has possession on that foul through the ball. Looks like they are going to give it to the Tar Heels, ladies.
They're getting a yellow card issued. So watch.
She gets hit with the ball, a stick.
Oh, high in the neck area.
I couldn't tell if she got hit with the ball. So
Biscup gets the card on this.
So it had to have been a dangerous follow-through.
It looked like it was. She definitely got hit
Fouled,
in the face.
correct, right? Like the stick went up into her neck. It's so difficult. They're moving so fast. Let's take another look at it.
So there's a follow through, and that hits Spotty. But then
In
you
the
also see
arm.
afterwards, and then it looked like she made contact in that first
I
replay
agree.
of the head. But the first dangerous follow through, you got to be. The bottom line is you have to be in control of your own stick and the ball when it's in your stick. So make sure that you do not make contact with another player.
And what you were saying, she hit her first with the follow-through, so that would make sense why it's a yellow card?
I did think, yes, and I did think that maybe they missed the second foul. Just thought it was a dangerous check. I think it was an alternate possession, so it went the other direction. But
Meanwhile, back at the ranch,
Sorry,
Nicole
we're in our own
Humphrey from
discussion over
Darien,
here.
Connecticut, gets the shooting space violation.
nice pass.
Nice jump. You get the assist on it, too, to Andy Aldave. 3 for 4 on the free positions are UNC right now.
She's the GOAT. I was trying to learn from the rule guru over here. I'm trying to learn and absorb as we're calling the game, but this is a great job. I love this. Unselfishness, that's what we talked about in the beginning of the game. That's a perfect example of it. Yes, could number 9 on UNC, Nicole Humphrey, could she have taken that 8-meter? Absolutely. But Andy Aldave had a better angle, so she kicks it.
So it's the dangerous foul.
Still some discussion on the yellow card, as there's a release on that from the goal.
UVA needs to be mindful of their yellow cards. They have 2 now. On a team's 4th team yellow card, that 2-minute penalty becomes unreleasable. And when an individual player gets 2 yellow cards, they're removed for the game.
Ball will go back to UVA. A little bit slow on the reverse as Virginia trying to move quickly here. Personnel coming off. And Clark with a little bit of room, but she'll wait for her teammates to settle in. Under a minute to go here in the second quarter of play.
You can still see the matchup stands. Rachel Clark, Emma Trenchard. So now they're taking her seriously here in the second quarter.
Good backup from behind. Still plenty of time to get another good look.
Schwab with the ball right now. Looking for some help. Flashing through will be a foul on the backside. Nicole Humphrey with a very solid check. First free position of the game for UVA. And the senior out of New Canaan, Connecticut, Braden Dial gives it up. Surprise on the give up there?
Better angle. That's a better angle, this free position. Yes, initially I was surprised, but the play worked out. But that's a much better opportunity. And it's in a veteran's hand, Ashley Mcgovern. Wow.
Brings it up the pipe. Second opportunity. Here comes the third, met with a double team. Still enough time, 9 seconds. UVA has to hurry. Dial, looking for Clark. And that'll do it in the second quarter of play. A little bit of a frenzy there as the teams head to the locker room for the half, and the Tar Heels up by 5.
Wild sequence of events there. I mean, great job getting that second and third possession by Virginia, but they've got to nail those shots when you get the opportunity. But we've got a game. It's 10-5, Carolina leads.
Great crowd on the hill tonight here at Klockner, taking in ACC action between Carolina and Virginia. The Tar Heels with a 5-goal lead at the half. Leah Secondo, Dana Boyle, Shannon Stanwood-Birch with you this evening. So glad you could join us for ACC action. And Rachel Clark has been kind of a thorn in Carolina's side right now. They haven't been able to figure out the freshman, even though the Tar Heels have this lead.
I'm really impressed with Rachel Clark. I mean, I'm surprised, like you said, why didn't they have a mark on her? Why did the best defender in Emma Trenchard not mark up on her from the beginning of the game? She's 4 for 5 on her shots. The rest of the Virginia team, 1 for 10.
And then Carolina goes on that run, and it's been a bevy of goal scorers that are just really, really difficult for any opponent to figure out.
They can't figure out who to guard because there's 7 different goal scorers for UNC, and UNC's been so effective. 17 shots, 15 of them have been on goal. And the draw control, 6 of those 10 goals have been off their draw control wins. So possession has been key.
Mastriani with 2 as Rachel Clark comes out. Ortega with 2, Aldave with 2 for Carolina. Again, this is a team that has come in here with a 17-game road streak, 39-game win streak in the regular season. And Jamie Ortega and her teammates trying to keep that train rolling towards the ACCs, which it's crazy to think of, ladies. It's right around the corner.
I can't believe we're in April, to be quite honest, because the weather hasn't been warm enough, at least in Charlottesville, Virginia, for it to feel like April. But today it was beautiful. I did still bring a jacket up here, but this is lacrosse weather.
Ashley Vernon looking on. And there's the circle. Aubrey Williams, Mastriani for Carolina. A slight advantage, 9-8, even though the Cavaliers have won the last 3. Break that trend. As Mastriani scoops it up, and we are underway for the third quarter of play.
When we've talked to coaches this season, they've all referenced how fast the season has gone. Both these teams, this is their second to last game of the regular season. ACC tournament's on the way, and one of the great things for the ACCs is all the teams make it into their conference tournament. So everyone's got a chance at that automatic qualifier.
Which can be good or bad. We were talking about this before the broadcast. You know, if you're right at that 500 bubble and you don't do well in that first Wednesday or Thursday play-in games, that could really hurt your season.
Goswick tries to save it. She does not. The ball will go back to Virginia. Cavaliers got on the board first here this evening. Rachel Clark on the first possession for the Cavaliers. Let's see how they came out of the locker room to start this third quarter of play.
Look how, we were talking about how UNC extending their defensive pressure, now even more so. They are not sitting back on the 8-meter and waiting, they are pressured out.
Were you guys too far? Too far? I was too far.
This is a UNC team that's allowing only 8.92 goals per game. That's first in the ACC and 9th in the nation. Cavaliers have 5 already.
With UNC pressuring so far out, I'd really set up some isolation plays for UVA. Bring the defenders out, make the slides much longer to come to try to get some one-on-ones.
Here's Mcgovern being
Just like
knocked
that.
around by Knowles, and it bounces in. Tips off of Marino's stick.
She called it.
UVA gets a great score there. A little unlucky bounce for UNC, but a much-needed goal. Ashlyn Mcgovern gets her 45th goal this season. A good take here for Mcgovern, and it just gets deflected off the defender's stick. And it's exactly what you want to do, get your stick in the passing lane. And then Moreno's just not able to see that, just the unlucky bounce there, but Mcgovern will take it.
You can see Taylor Moreno just defeated in her body language.
Second goal of the night for Ashlyn Mcgovern. And the band plays on.
But when you're playing UNC, you'll take that. A goal is a goal.
A goal is a goal.
That's right.
That's so hard just defensively when you have your stick in there. Even sometimes when it gets deflected and the goalie can't read that. But you do, as a defender, your goal is to get your stick in the passing lane. She did have just one hand on her stick. You think maybe if she had 2 hands, that maybe she would have actually really blocked the shot instead of it getting tipped off.
I mean, that's quite literally what they teach you, like fundamental defense. Stick in the passing lane, stick's always up. So she was doing her job.
Hustle by Virginia. Can they scoop it up? They cannot. And UNC and Elizabeth Hillman come out of the pack with it. Walker Welch trying to get up quickly.
Elizabeth Hillman has been so fun to watch for UNC, number 21 in blue. #1 recruit in 2019. Has battled injuries throughout her career, but it's been a big spark as she's been healthy this year playing.
Crisscross action for UNC, and they try to create some confusion for Scotty Rose Growney, actually. Keep possession of the ball.
Wurzburger likes to operate behind the cage there. She's got great footwork. She's looking for the pass first, usually.
But she creates offense because she does go so hard. So you truly, as a defender, have to play her honest because you don't know. Yes, she's probably going to feed, but she's been known to put the ball in the back of the net.
Solid defense there by Mackenzie Hogue, trying to run Mastriani off.
Yeah, Wurzburger, she's got great numbers on the season. Very balanced. Coming into this game, 25 goals, 28 assists. So definitely can score a dual threat or feed.
Ortega with some room, and a foul called before the release of the shot. Colleg going out.
There was that simultaneous whistle. We'll see if UVA can evade some of this pressure.
Megan Gordon. We spent some time with Megan yesterday as the foul is called on Mastriani. Yellow card as she will step off. Megan Gordon telling us that through Growney, Scotty Rose Growney actually, stepping off. See if we can pick it up on the replay.
They're going to call it for a slash. So that's just a reckless, dangerous check. It doesn't necessarily have to make contact with her head or the body. So Growney will be sidelined. This is UNC's first yellow card of the night for up to 2 minutes, and it's releasable on a UVA score.
It was great defensive positioning until the swipe happened.
And that's so hard because
It
as
is.
a player, you don't know. It's up to the ref's call, especially if you don't make contact with the head or the body. But it is a safety call. You have to be in control of your stick. We're going to see a timeout.
You can hear Julie Myers calling timeout. We will step aside as well and be back with the Cavaliers on the attack after these messages. Little different format this year for the ACC, and if it all ended today, ladies, this is how it would pan out right now. We're not anywhere near that. A lot of things can happen, but interesting.
A lot more games on the season right now. But you see the first round, if it was like the season ended today, Pitt and Notre Dame and UNC, which is huge, if they get the #1 seed, what that means is if they can hold out and win, they get to host the championship. Whoever wins out, the highest seed will host that. But you look at this, such great talent here. These games have been close in the regular season, so.
A player up for the Cavaliers out of the timeout, and 2 weekends. Before the national championship run starts for the ACCs, with the upper seed hosting that final championship game. A little bit different.
Very different, and it's a week in between, so that's also interesting for preparation. You know, even an entire week to watch a team's film that you've played before.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be good or bad.
Probably a lot of schoolwork to catch up when you're here.
Yes,
you're in South Bend for
absolutely.
that long time. You get back, trying to get back in gear.
Looking for a cutter quickly. Broken up is Hogue. Will they retain possession? They do not.
Great defensive stance there, and coming up, look at this nice, beautiful cross-field clear.
Walker Welch gets it up quickly to Eldave.
And UNC has only had 1 goal in the last 16.5 minutes, so that's a scoring drought for them that we don't typically see. It happened in the Syracuse game in the 4th quarter. I believe it was 13 minutes or so that they didn't score, but credit Virginia for holding them to that.
.30 seconds left, roughly, on
30 seconds on the penalty.
You can hear it. Great Nat sound by our crew tonight. Pick that up. And a nice crowd on hand here for ACC action on Thursday night here in Charlottesville.
15.
Rain has held off. They'll run out the shorthandedness. Call down.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Penalties released.
Grani races back in.
And sometimes you can see teams attack with that run on, but good decision for them to hold it.
Mastriani spins back inside. She had an opening for a second and releases and scores. What a move.
She's so strong and powerful. I mean, she is a true two-way midi. And I mentioned it earlier, one of the best. She can do all of the things. She can dodge, she can pass, she can take a rip of a shot. I like this. She initially was maybe gonna go to her left hand, keeps it in her right, spins around. Nothing Ashley Vernon can do. Placement is precise.
What a spin and a rip for the score. Just a statement goal there. 5'9", look at the accolades. She's also on the world team. I mean, so she's just done. Add that to the list of accomplishments.
Hat trick on the night for Mastriani, one of 3 players with 2+ goals on the evening.
She does a lot of community service work, works for Gigi's Playhouse. She's been a great role model.
Picks it up on the bounce.
And great on the draw.
12th draw control for UNC on the night.
But to Sheehan, your point, I do think it's important for us to highlight and recognize that, yes, they're very good lacrosse players. Ally Mastroni's a stud, but they also do a lot of work in their communities. And whether they believe it or not, they are role models and leaders. And a lot of little girls, we look up to them, and a lot of little kids, you know, think that they're amazing, which they are. But it's so important to have those positive role models, and they're all so kind and give their time, which they don't have a lot of spare time.
Job on the turnover. Cavaliers pick it up and continue on.
Devin Whitaker, excellent ground ball, transition downfield.
The race in, and the scoop out of midair by Marino. The outlet quickly. Livy Lawton met on the ride. Walker Welch carries it over the line. Dirks with room to move herself. Rolls back inside.
Good defense by Kiki Shaw, 23 in white.
Again, Kiki just getting back into action as well. She was sidelined a little bit for the Cavaliers.
She looks healthy and strong
She does.
to me. She's like one big muscle of a player. So strong.
End to end, just one of those great midfielders that can score when you need, play great defense. And they're gonna call charge, so big defensive stop. Megan Gordon draws that.
Gordon will outlet it here. We spent a lot of time talking with Megan Gordon yesterday. She talked to us about how she got into meditation. She found that helped her through COVID.
I've seen a lot of teams. Boston College, they do meditation before. They all lay on the field in like a circle and will meditate or visualize. And I think it's really important. You've got to have that release and that extra time that you spend to ground you and to really give you that perspective and continue to remain that lacrosse is a gift and you should have fun doing it. I think it's the mental health aspect is so important.
Absolutely, and sometimes as Kiki Shaw is looking for some help here, the 2 hours that these players, as you both know very well, is the 2 hours away from everything in life where you can just kind of have some fun and get away from it all. Shot over the top by Schwab is errant, but it'll stay with the Cavaliers. Mcgovern rips one off the post. That's the second one that she's rang the bell on the post tonight.
And that'll reset the shot clock to 60 seconds.
They're setting up something. You can hear Colleen Shears, the offensive coordinator. She's yelling 2. It's got to be an isolation.
Isolation for 16, maybe.
Good quick double team now. UVA's got to find that open person. It's the farthest person away from the ball, which is a great defensive scheme. Make it hard for that offensive team to get the ball to the open person.
As Maggie Bostano way over the opposite side.
And easy, we can see that, but when you have all of those sticks flashing in your face, it's so difficult. I've been in that situation. But yes, farthest player away from ball is always open.
Rachel Clark set herself up. Clark's, in case you joined us late, has 4 goals already on the night.
4 goals on 5 shots, so she's made the most of her opportunities.
11 hat-tricks on the season. UVA 0 for 1 on the free position. Clark trying to change that. Nice save, going down twice. For Marino, 3 times make it is the charm. And Taylor says, I'm gonna take a little bit of time off, go behind the net, get myself together here.
She gets her 5th save on that. And we've seen her make multiple saves.
Yes.
A lot of times when goalies get beat once and the ball rebounds, it's very hard because they're out of position. She is great reflexes, is explosive.
Such a stud. She had a Sports Center top 10 save against Notre Dame where she did the exact same thing, but she dove from opposite ends of the crease, saving it twice herself. I mean, you don't do this, you don't make this type of save unless you are athletic and heads up and you have the IQ to do so. She's just an All-American. She's just a stud. And super athletic. I think people don't give goalies enough credit.
Absolutely.
You know, they're probably some of the best athletes on the team, and she does jiu-jitsu. She's like a black belt.
Black belt, she is a black belt, yeah.
Like,
right.
Don't mess with her. Outside of the field, don't mess with her.
Here's Ortega. Is probably one of the toughest things for any opponent is to make sure you understand who the personnel is on the field. Aldave now, as Carolina has changed it up again. Ortega trying to find an opening and does a nice job. Taylor Wareheim with the goal.
Letting the ball do the work. UNC is one of the best. Taylor Wareheim was sidelined with an injury. She's been back the last few games. Ortega gets it to her. And Wareheim, the reason she scores this goal is she's patient. She doesn't shoot through the traffic here. She steps back. She's able to get a little bit of separation from her defender, gets her stick free, and fires it in.
We were talking about Wareheim before the game. She's She's
Right.
been a little quiet. Yes, she's been recovering from an injury, but that has to feel good for her confidence to get that score.
On pace, 8 goals in 9 games.
8 different scores for UNC. That is a coach's dream. You always want to have everyone a threat to score. Usually teams have 1 or 2 players, can always put up 4 or 5 goals a game, then you have a couple people chipping in 1 or 2. UNC, it's been different all season long. They've had, Ortega's been breaking records and one of the leaders out there, but so many players chipping in. Wurzburger, Scotty Rose Growney, Andy Aldave, Geyersbach, Mastriani, Olivia Dirks, all have over 10 goals on the season.
It's so impressive. The only other team that I can think of in the ACC that has something similar is Boston College and Syracuse. They're pretty balanced offensively, which makes for a really fun matchup between those 2 teams.
And which is why we've seen so many great
Right.
games. They've done.
Right.
Over half of UNC's goals are also been assisted this season. So
Ortega gets the call as the flag was out.
excellent dodge, drawing that foul. Again, most of the whistles in women's lacrosse are all about safety, so that any checks to the body, the holding of the stick. So nothing really overly aggressive. You see the extension of the arms, actually. That looks pretty aggressive right now when
Across
she's
the
going
body.
in.
Whitaker there on the foul. Ortega.
Someone must have got a chip on that. She doesn't miss often, and she doesn't miss like that often.
And that was a hard foul.
Yeah, backside push.
We're gonna see another yellow card. So this will make it the 3rd yellow card on Maggie Bostain. Third,
Pretty hard check.
We talked about this. Jamie Ortega gets beat up. That's
There's
just
one.
a wrap around the stick. Yeah.
This is releasable. Okay? Yep.
She looked like she was grabbing her head.
yeah, it looks like they got tangled up and in that neck area, which is, you know, something that the officials are gonna call. We'll see if she opts to take this or pull out with the possession.
Good call there, Goat.
We're just gonna keep calling her that. I mean, there was 90 seconds, but she knows all.
And that's a smart move in terms of just time management. Oh, great
Mackenzie
interception.
And a foul.
That's a yellow card on
It
UNC.
is.
So they're calling, so the officials, if you make contact with the head, it's gonna be a yellow card. But we've also seen if you make these dangerous swipes, it's gonna be a yellow card. So it's time for all the players in the field. It's a warning to everyone. Clean up the game. Those swinging checks are gonna get carded.
And in the first half, I felt like they let them play. It was physical, but it wasn't out of control. Those last 2 yellow
out of
cards, a
control.
little out of control. So you
Yeah.
gotta calm the game down. Everyone's gotta settle in. You just don't want anyone getting hurt.
And ironically, for UNC, that has now been the 5th turnover this quarter.
Something you definitely don't see from UNC often, those uncharacteristic turnovers.
This has been a weird 3rd quarter too. Just
Right.
2 goals for UNC, 1 goal for UVA. And we've seen that 3rd quarter coming out of halftime. Either teams make the adjustments and really improve, or it's just a little slower start. So
And the different momentum shifts with the quarters. We talk about this all the time. I do feel as though it's very different from the halves. You can have a great 1st and 2nd quarter. You take that dip in the 3rd quarter, sort of like UNC, and then in the 4th quarter, they just blow it out.
this gives a lot more space. Both teams down a player. So playing 6-on-6.
Cavaliers trying to bait them a little bit. The Tar Heels to come out.
I think they want to draw that double. Like Sheehan was saying, draw the double, kick it to the backside.
There's Ashlyn McGovern. Steering straight down at Moreno. Upper 90. Ripping it for the goal.
I really love 6v6 offense. It gives you so much space, like Sheehan was mentioning, and you have to take advantage of it. Ashlyn McGovern, she's a pro from the 8-meter. Named to the Touraton watch list. Favorite food, sushi. I love that. same.
Biggest producer and team leader for this Cavalier squad, 1-6 in white.
So much power behind that shot. Charlotte North-esque. Other people besides Charlotte North can shoot hard from the 8-meter, but you've got to be able to place it. I used to tell my high school players all the time, you can't just wind up and rip from an 8-meter. Ashlyn McGovern, Charlotte North, Kaylin Wurzberger, they practice that. That's not something they just show up on game day and do, but great score for Virginia.
McGovern with the only 2 goals for UVA in the 3rd quarter. The alternate possession. That was one of the new rules this season with the draw. If they can't figure out who made the infraction, it goes to alternating possession.
I really like that because it reminds me of basketball with the jump ball. And it's effective. You just, instead of stopping play and the officials talking it over, you just move. You're moving the game.
Moves quickly. Aldave picks up the loose ball. Foul called. A little whistle there and a hold.
Looks like we're gonna have an alternating possession for double fouls on that play. Officials communicating, but it'll stay UNC's ball.
Wareheim with the ball off of the foul. Fakes it. Little bouncer. Gets by Vernon for the goal.
We are seeing why 8 meters are crucial to practice, to be efficient. Wareheim does it a little bit differently. She explodes off the 8-meter, protects her stick, and then just goes to her left-hand side a little bit, which gives her right hand, her stick side, a little bit more freedom, and is able to score, get her 9th goal this season. She's got back-to-back scores for the Tar Heels.
Tell Taylor Wareheim is back healthy again. And again, if you've joined us late, Taylor beat up a little bit, as most of the players are at this juncture of the season.
We saw her in street clothes during the pit game, but she is a captain for this North Carolina squad,
right.
So she definitely serves a purpose in a leadership role off the field when she was her, but it's great to see her
Absolutely.
back on the field.
And the Northwestern game we had, she did not play. Aldave we weren't sure, and Aldave moves into the position to help out.
I remember talking to Jenny Levy about Taylor Wareheim when she was a freshman, and she had to tell her, you need to shoot the ball. And she's clearly evolved. It's interesting when you compare the notes of what coaches talk about other players as freshmen.
Through the years,
yes.
Absolutely. Third quarter draws for UNC, 6-0, the advantage. Ortega. Spin move. Wurzberger tosses it to herself. I don't know, maybe, give herself an assist, maybe.
Incredible poise.
Loose ball on the ground.
Kiki Shaw, a great pickup there.
Kiki's been really two-way tonight, as that will end the 3rd quarter of play. 3 quarters in the books here in Charlottesville. We'll wrap it into 4. After these messages. Levy has started the program at UNC. One-time great here as a player in Charlottesville as well. And the Levy history over the years, 26 of 27 seasons, above 500, but a star player at UVA as well. That was her first team in '96.
Look at those uniforms.
They were 12-4, 2-time national champions. Do it once, you do it twice, it's a special feeling. And also, along with that, a mom balancing that and also balancing her time with the national team, which we will finally see in the Olympics ahead.
So impressive. Just so much success, been part of this UNC program, built it, the first recruiting class, and then throughout the years just to maintain that success.
And not having lost a regular season game in almost 3 years, that's incredible.
Regular season game in 3 years. 39 game win streak coming into tonight. 17 on the road. Can they keep the streak alive?
They still know. We've talked about it often, though. They had a perfect regular season last year, and they lose in the semifinals. That loss has stung. It has stung. So they know that as good as it gets in the regular season, and they are perfect this year, what matters, they want that national championship. These players are hungry for it.
Definitely humbled by the whole situation, and that was one of the things that Olivia Dirk spoke to us about in Indy Oldave when we had that first game against Northwestern, the importance of wanting to be in this environment and be in position for a national championship.
And I think they've been battle-tested more so this year than they had last year. They were blowing teams out last year. No one really scored more than 10 goals on them. And now I feel like teams are getting better, but they've had that test, and I think it'll prepare them just a little bit better. I also said that they were going to win the national championship game last year, and I was very wrong. So maybe I should have said
Never
that.
know. Nice job by Vernon with the save.
UNC's been able to string together 7 draw control wins, so it really just feels like the ball's been on their offensive end. There's that inside roll.
Brooke Newman with the inside roll. Open up the fourth quarter of scoring.
I think they're doing little rolls on the sideline for UNC's celebration.
Yep.
And Geiersbach, we have seen this spin move quite a few times. What you do is you take your defender upfield, you feel their body and their momentum a little bit going north, and you just stop, spin on a dime, and you can just see she leaves her defender in the dust.
Inside roll clinic, breaking ankles all at the same time.
You know, we spoke of Jamie Ortega's play coming into this game over the last 2 games. Geiersbach has been just as solid. Now 18 goals, 17 assists in the last 10 games.
It's incredible. All the transfers, I should stop calling them transfers because we're basically most of the way through the season, but they've all made such an immediate impact and fit in so well with all of the current talent. That's just impressive. That is not only Jenny Levy, but that's the culture that she's created and the selflessness that we were talking about earlier.
Geiersbach coming in from Richmond, just down the road a piece.
What a pass. Beautiful job downfield from Emma Trenchard getting that to Jamie Ortega.
Ortega trying to work inside. Nicole Humphreys back in, number 9 for Carolina. Humphrey trying to turn the corner on Hogue. Wurzburger trying to give her some room to work as 13 for the Tar Heels comes back up towards the top. Ortega with the stutter step. This is the largest lead for the Tar Heels right now. And the turnover. Kiki Shaw, who else? Nice job by Shaw. Hogue looks around for some help. Nearly picked off, looking for the cutter coming across. And Walker Welch broke up the play. Foul called.
Very lucky that Virginia maintained possession there.
They were lucky to get the foul call, just maintaining possession, because that looked like it was going to be a turnover.
Dial gives it up. Mcgovern up over the top as she got knocked by Humphreys. Humphrey has played solid on the offensive side as well as the defensive side tonight for UNC. Kiki Shaw now. Clark.
Mcgovern and Clark, the only goal scorers for UVA.
Shaw's worked really hard, working on Emma Trenchard, though. Second opportunity from Mcgovern goes awry.
Those are those seams that Sheehan was talking about earlier. If you can
Right.
find the seams and attack them, that was just an unlucky shot. But you got to nail those when you're playing UNC. You can't miss those.
That's going to be a charge. Yeah, the good call by the officials here. You can't force through an excellent double team by UNC.
Been a lot of debate.
Yeah.
Debate with the charge call with Loyola, the Loyola Syracuse game. We all wanted to talk about the charge. It's very apparent. It is difficult, and it's different than basketball because you don't have to have your feet set. You just have to have defensive positioning. So I think oftentimes people get confused about that, but that was absolutely the right call.
Forsberger looking for a cutter. Aldave. It's interesting how Aldave works so well with her back to the goal. Humphrey being knocked off by Kiki Shaw. A little bit too aggressive there. Wareheim, lots of room. Closes in the shooting space. Draws it.
And you can see just the sea of white jerseys there, the crowding in front. Was able to let her draw that shooting space. And one of the ways you get that foul is you pump fake. You look like you're shooting, you've got the opportunity to shoot, you get the foul.
Nice job defensively by the Cavaliers. They got a stick on it.
Yeah, it's so tough to play defense in this game. You hear so many of the whistles, but that was just for checks going into the body. And a reset Wareheim up. We'll see if she opts to change something differently. So the defense was able to collapse. Maybe she takes that shot a little bit further, quicker, instead of going in so far. You also see Ortega down low, maybe opt for the pass.
Tries to go low, kicked out by Vernon. And it goes to the Cavaliers.
UNC 3 for 7 on free position shots. That would make a big difference had that goal went in. They could have easily been pulling away from Virginia a lot quicker.
Dial scoops it up. Clark trying to cut through. Schwab looking for a cutter. Met by Julia Dorsey. Dorsey, two-way player, also playing on the soccer team as well. Been highly documented. Mcgovern's denied by the double team.
It's not a bad look, but you've got to change your angles. Taylor Moreno is a pro in the cage. She could track that.
Quick outlet, look out. Aldame's got room. 3-on-2. And Wareheim converts.
Unbelievable end-to-end play for UNC. And it starts all with the defensive end. Look at this outlet clear. Moreno, and then the beautiful pass. Unbelievable job by Dirks, the leading pass to catch it on the run. Aldave with a head of steam, and she goes one more, and the finish there for number 22, Taylor Wareheim. I just love the unselfishness on display, the movement, end-to-end action. That's when you wish you could divvy out more assists there, because that was a complete team effort, and it starts with Taylor Moreno.
Very much a textbook transition. That's her third goal. And she was quiet leading up because she was injured. She wasn't playing that much, and for her to come into this game, that's huge.
And how
3 goals this half.
And how quickly they can strike with those 3 goals in this half. Somebody else, you know, you think you've got the things kind of hunkered down and contained, for the moment.
I mean, every coach that we've talked to that's played UNC has said you have to pick your poison because they're so versatile.
Williams really having to work hard, gets through Knowles.
I like how the UNC has really just upped their defensive pressure. I think it's important for them not to settle back and relax, and they're making UVA a little bit uncomfortable, especially as they try to transition into the offensive end.
Well, how much of that goes into the pride of being the #1 team in the nation, allowing only 8.9 goals per game, too? As a defender, I would think you take some pride into that. Or they'll make you pay coming through the crease.
Again, that's just another opportunity that Virginia has had to put the ball in the back of the net, but they can't finish.
We see a yellow card here, dangerous follow through, and this is the second yellow card on Mackenzie Hogue. So now this is a double whammy. She's now out for the remainder of the game, but now this is the fourth yellow card for UVA. So now this is 2 minutes unreleasable.
No, non-releasable as well, yes.
So this is when teams can really go on runs because you're not opting. If you're UNC, the goal is to just keep on scoring. The clock is going to, 2 minutes is a long time.
And initially you thought it would be Dorsey on the check there. But as you mentioned, to the head. And so here come the Tar Heels as we approach 7 minutes to go in the game. Brownie telling Wareheim to go wide, but she cuts behind, or actually Mastriani to go wide. Brownie cutting through. Here's Eldave as the second. Mastriani all alone if they can find her. Didn't have to work too hard. Quick, 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 get me the ball.
I understand that North Carolina is up in this situation, but it takes practice to be patient like that. I love the tic-tac-toe passing. They're so good at it. Just a great finish. Wurzburger to Mastriani, great score.
Back to Charlottesville. Allie Mastriani, number 12 for the Tar Heels. A phenomenal night, 4 for 5 shooting. She's tied a career high now with those 4 goals. The other game was against High Point. The game summary, ladies.
A lot of different goal scorers for North Carolina. I think Allie Mastriani has played such a complete game. She does it all over the field really well. Matchup type defender, draw controls, puts the ball in the back of the net. I'm so impressed, continuously so impressed with her.
And you look at UVA, the story for them is just not getting enough goals. Clark with 4 goals, they all were in the first half. She hasn't scored since. Mcgovern with 3, and the rest of the team being held scoreless.
The difference as well with the draws. As you see Williams and Mastriani in the circle, a 17-9 advantage for the Tar Heels in that area tonight.
These are conference rivals here, but it was cool before the game. It's the One Love game for both these teams. And they got together, all had t-shirts. We got together for an on-field picture with the common goal of just really spreading just the awareness of One Love, an amazing foundation, and just how to have healthy relationships, all different types of relationships, but very special program and effort to spread the word in honor of Yardley Love.
And I love that so many institutions are doing it. It's not just happening at the college level, but high school, and it is important, you know? Not often are you taught what a healthy relationship looks like, and so to be able to have those conversations and further those conversations, like Sheehan said, it's not just romantic relationships, it can be platonic friendships.
Absolutely.
How do you work with your coworkers? Respect. I think it's just so important, the message that they're spreading, and to really honor Yardley.
And carrying it on. Here's Rachel Clark, the freshman. Clark with 4 goals on the night, number 5 in white. She's wide open if they can find her. As Marino collects it in.
The penalty will expire now, so back to even strength.
Five minutes to go in the game.
Melissa Scanoni just trips up behind the cage. UVA is able to get possession again.
UVA 0 for 4 in this quarter. Trying to change that here on this possession.
UVA's generated a lot of shots, 26 to UNC's 27. So they've been able to match them, just haven't had a lot on cage.
Is that more so being put in low percentage positions to take the shot, or?
A little bit of both. I think they've had some great looks. They just haven't been able to connect. And UVA's been 0 for 5 on their shots in this fourth quarter. So credit the UNC defense. We talked about how strong they are. But UVA's struggled to get some better looks and to get a lot of those on goal. Just 14 of the 26 shots on goal. Compare that to 23 of 27 shots that have been on goal for UNC.
One of the players that I think that the defense has done a nice job is Dial is trying to find her teammates there. Is 21 in white, Kate Miller, who right now is being marked by 27 Dirks as a shot goes over the top by Mcgovern.
And that shot clock will expire. So UNC looking to continue their perfect season.
Miller, one of those young freshmen for Virginia, had scored a goal in each of the first 6 games.
And she runs that split mid position,
Right.
which is difficult, but it also can give you a different look, especially in transition, and that is the big piece why they want her to run that split mid, because she is so quick in that transition.
Keep an eye as Scotty Rose-Browning has just come into the game. Make sure they pick her up, and Whitaker does follow her in. That could be always scary. Dirks up top.
See a shooting space violation. Again, that's when a player gets into that path to goal. It's a safety call, an immediate whistle.
28 Bostain picking it up. Dirks met with a double team. Give it back to her again.
And if she scores this, it's a 10-goal differential, so it will be running clock.
Dirks over the top, nice job by Vernon. She felt it going high.
She held strong and wasn't baiting for any of the fakes. 8th save for Vernon.
Hogue takes a couple to the head.
I'm surprised that wasn't a card.
Yeah, absolutely.
They started calling it pretty tight in the fourth quarter.
Great dial. Ridden off there by Gabby Hall. They leave an isolation there for Clark. Goes short side wide.
And not much of an angle.
No,
that's
that's
the
a tough
UNC
thing.
defense. That's Emma Trenchard forcing you to take the worst angle possible shot.
Here's Miller. Point blank, though, for Marino.
From the same spot
Right.
that Rachel Clark just took it. You've got to work to get a better angle, whether that's going inside or kicking the ball around and working it.
And 8 saved as well for Taylor Marino.
And it was Jamie Biscuit that actually was yellow carded out of the game, not Mackenzie Hogues. Mackenzie Hogue was safe, but Biscuit got the 2 cards.
Worsberger taking it wide here as we are under a minute to go. Wareheim to Ortega, all alone, and Jamie Ortega capping it off.
North Carolina. Tar Heels goal scored 5 for 3, Jamie Ortega.
Hat trick for Ortega, 49th of the season.
Are you surprised? Because I'm not. I mean, this goal makes the running clock, and I think if you're UNC, a takeaway is that you did have so many different individuals score. Jamie Ortega makes it 10-goal differential, running clock. That's what you want. You can see her clap. She's got smiles. Finishing the 4th quarter strong. UVA, they haven't scored in over 16 minutes.
You know, I think just a dominant effort for North Carolina. 17 goals, great defensive stand. And UVA, they may get another crack at UNC.
And they held them. The first 3 quarters were relatively great for UVA, but you have to score in the 4th quarter. You just have to. It's non-negotiable.
Carolina improves to 7-0 in conference play. That 18-game road win streak. Once again, the final 17-7. All ACC coming up next for Sheehan, Dana, the entire crew. I'm Leah Secondo. So long from Charlottesville.